Good morning, everyone. Alright, this is, of course, welcome back to my channel. To No Questions Please. My gamer tag name is Triple XO. But, alright, today, I'm going to explain to you my feats, why I put the points there. Like, if you want to go with a different path, that is also fine. This is more like a team, like, this is a team player kind of Iron Vanguard type build. Alright, so in the heroic feats, I maxed out toughness. I maxed out this, strength focus. Um, the reason why I did this though, the effectiveness of strength by 5, 10, 15%. If you go to your character and down to your stats, what happens is you get stamina regen, damage bonus, and DOT damage resistance. Really good to have. Stamina regen especially. Of course your shield's not going, when it goes down or whatever, you'll gain back that stamina, whatever you lost. Really good to have in those feats. Toughness, maxed it out. You need as many hit points as possible. You got a guardian fighter. Of course, you gotta take as much damage as possible for your team. When you're tanking any kind of boss, any kind of dungeon, good to use, good to have. Then you were not losing as many hit points as any kind of higher level enemy is giving out. Armor specialization. You need the effectiveness of your armor class and defense. I maxed this one out. It's really important. You need as much damage resistance as much as possible as a guardian fighter. You need to be able to eat that damage for your team. Distracting shield. When you guard an attack, your attacker briefly deals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% less damage. They weren't really specific when they say briefly, but it's a good feat to use. I didn't really worry about it too much. I put one feat in here only because of course I'm tiefling, so I don't have that many feats. I only have about 20, of course, in this one, just like everybody else except for the human. Increase the damage of your encounter and at will powers by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10%. Good to have, good to, like, if you really need it or whatever. Yes, this is a good power or good feat to have. I'm sorry. I'm just like waking up here. Increase the damage of your encounter and at will powers. Alright, so this is good to have. Whatever your powers are at, like say if you have Griffin's Wrath, good for this to be maxed out, good for you to have it. I do recommend this, like, on a high level. You need it as much as possible. Weapon mastery, increase your critical chance by 1, 2, 3%. This is basically like a starter. I maxed it out because it's like a start off. You do need as much crit as possible, but you're not going to be able to do anything without defense and power, I believe. So as a guardian fighter, if you haven't noticed, in our stats, there's never a chance for us to gain any kind of crit or any kind of crit chance. Let's see. Yeah, none. So this comes in handy. This, I would suggest you max this one out. It's a good start off. Better than nothing, of course, and all the other sources around you that help you gain crit. Reduce the damage effects of combat advantage against you by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25%. This is good because say if someone's like behind you and your shield is up, yes, that can be bad because the only time you can affect any kind of control powers or any kind of damage is when your shield is up. This is basically like a shield in the back of you. It gives you but it's like another piece of damage resistance. Really good to have. Alright, now for the Protector Paragon and the Tactician Paragon. I put some points in a little bit of both, but mainly Tactician. Protector Paragon is more like PvP. Tactician Paragon is more PvE. And the Conqueror Path is more like, I guess it's more like PvE, but just with DPS. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't knock this at all. I loved it. But Protector Paragon, this is good, but you don't gain as much power from this Paragon. Armor of Bahamut, while stamina is below 30%, you take up to 10% less damage from all sources. Good to have. If you're, of course, like running out of stamina and as a I'm sorry, as a guardian fighter, you need to take as much damage as possible, especially when you're doing dungeons, when you're doing boss fights, when you're doing anything. Good to have. Ferocious reaction heals you for an additional up to 10% of your maximum hit point, and frontline surge now has a 100% chance to taunt and mark the affected targets. Good to have, good to build threat. When you're in dungeons, in any kind of, it just, you know, like that kind of, this is more, yeah, PvE. This is more like a PvE build, protector right here. Because, let me see, frontline surge is important to have, when you're like being, attacked by mobs. Good to push them back. It's really good now that you get to mark your affected targets, because of course the mark of any kind of Iron Vanguard or any kind of Guardian fighter lowers the damage resistance of the enemy. Alright, shield defense, gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to armor class. Good to have, like I said, and I can't stress this enough. You have to have as much damage resistance as possible as a Guardian fighter. Fight on. Encounter cooldowns reduced by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10%. Good to have, good to max out. If your encounter cooldown is 20, or originally was 20 or whatever, and you have points in this, good to have. Like, really good to have. I would suggest this on a high level. You won't be waiting as much if you're having trouble with, say if you need to stun a foe, like right then and there, yeah. And say if that cooldown was at 10 seconds, and I'm just like giving an example because I know this isn't right, but like it'll be cooled down to about like 8 or 7 seconds. Daunting challenge. Marked targets now deal up to 10% less damage to your allies, but still full damage to you. This is good. This is basically another reason why, like, this is another tanking kind of feat. Good to have in dungeons, good to have in boss fights, good to have in PvP, good to use. And of course, lowers that target's damage resistance. Allies within 30 feet of you gain action points by about up to 5% faster. This is good. The more action points they have, the better. The more you can get through the dungeon or whatever you're doing. If you're in PvP, this is also good because you're always surrounded by your allies, and if not, even still, like, that's where some of this Protector Paragon does come in, especially Ferocious Reaction that heals you for up to 10% of your maximum hit points. Basically, it can almost fully heal you. If you've seen any of my tanking videos for trash mobs and anything like that, yeah, Ferocious Reaction does come in handy. It almost completely heals me. Rousing speech. Allies within 30 feet of you gain action points up to 5% faster. Oh, I'm sorry. I already did that. Surging Tide. Side of Iron's debuff also reduces the amount of physical damage they deal to you by 2-4 up to 10%. Up to 10%. But what happens is, so I'm gonna explain it just for a little bit. Smash your shield into a single foe, reduce their damage resistance to your attack, recovers 10% of your stamina. This is good to have. The debuff does last for a good minute. It's a really good damage resistance, so on top of whatever you already have in your armor class, I would put feats in here. Like, it's really good to have, really good to tank with. I admire it, I love it. Crushing Pin. Your control powers now cause the target to take up to 10% bonus damage for 3 seconds. Good to have. If you have stuff like Griffin's Wrath, or if you have a Knee Breaker, this is the reason why I put 5 points. I maxed the points out in Crushing Pin. Really good to have. I admire it. I love it. If you've seen if you've seen the original powers before, you know, putting feats in here anywhere, then you understand why I would, or why you should max this out. And Martial Mastery. Tanking damage now builds action points for yourself and allies within 50 feet of you, gaining bonus to this value based on your damage resistance. Like I said before, we'll stress this. Damage resistance as a Guardian fighter is important. You need to eat that damage. It's good for you now, because especially when you have Knight's Valor on, your action points will just shoot up. It's really good to have. I really do suggest this, especially when you're doing any kind of PvP or PvE. It doesn't matter. Damage resistance is great. It's great to have. I love it. You know, eating that damage is good for you as a Guardian fighter. It's good for your team. You take hits for your team, and you don't have to worry about them dying as quickly as long as they can get through whatever they're doing. Alright, so that's the end of this video for feats. In the next one, I'll explain boons and maybe some companions if I have time. But other than that, you know, like, just like this video. If you have any questions or comments or helpful tips and hints, you know, like, go ahead and put them in the comments box. But thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you subscribe to this video. I apologize if there was any static or, you know, lag. But I hope to make another video for you guys soon. Okay, bye.